Hi, welcome back to Creating Your Life on Sex and Romance. This is episode 49, The Secret to Happiness. Hi, Mark Alexander back, finally, after a while. Just completed a novel and did the final editing and got it off to a literary agent. So I'm back to making some videos and glad to be here. It's July 4th, so I'm wearing my Captain America t-shirt. Seems appropriate. And so let's get on with finishing up Sex and Romance and talking about happiness, a subject that I think is dear to everybody, but very few of us have ever really sat down and thought about exactly what it meant. And so that's what we're talking about today. What I wanted to mention also is I've updated all my books on Amazon. They all have more content than the originals with new covers. Also, Kirkus reviews. I got Kirkus reviews on all four. Very nice ones on Creating Your Life. They say a winning mixture of practical encouragement and big picture advice. On Money and Wealth, a clear, invigorating point-by-point breakdown of how money works. On Sex and Romance, a direct and no-nonsense manual to help young people navigate the world of intimacy, and middle-aged and old people too, I'd say. And then finally, on Mozart and Great Music, a thorough and enthusiastic introduction to the life and works of Mozart, perfect for readers of all ages. That's very nice of them to say. So let's get into happiness. And I want to start with a question. Suppose the government came up with a happy pill to offer to all the citizens. It's a pill that would just make you happy. You would have no cares, no concern, no pain, no suffering. You would just be happy. And here's the question. Would you take it? Would you take it? Would you take a happy pill guaranteed to make you happy? Now, if you're like me, and I think most people, you would probably want to at least try it out, but there's a part of you that it seems like there's something wrong with the idea of a happy pill. That somehow, if the government could just put you in a room and give you everything that you need, that you don't have to struggle or try for anything, that somehow something is missing. And that a false drug-induced kind of happy pill, something that's artificial, is somehow wrong. And if you believe that, then good for you, because I think you're absolutely right. There's something wrong with that. And as we go through this discussion of, this one-sided discussion of happiness, I think you'll get a clue of what I'm talking about. So what is happiness? I think a lot of people think of it in terms of being satisfied and content with lots of pleasure. Boy, if I could be satisfied and content, if I could have enough money, have somebody I love with lots of good sex and all kinds of things, that's what happiness is. But let's break this down a little bit and ask some questions. First, can you be satisfied and not be happy? I mean, there are people who can get enough money and be satisfied, and they have all the money they want, and they're still not happy. And then there are people who've been looking for fame, and they get it, and they're satisfied, but they're not happy. Can you be content and not be happy? I'm content with the money. I'm content with the fame. I got a good home. I got a good car. I got nice things. I should be content, right? Yep. But can I have all that and still not be happy? As you already know, there are people who have plenty of fame, plenty of money, and they still kill themselves. And somehow they're not happy. Can you experience pleasure and not be happy? Well, yeah, I think that obviously is yes. You can experience pleasure and forget that you're not happy while you're having it, or you can actually, be in the midst of it and still there's something nagging at you, that there's something about your life that is not complete. And I think that's an interesting way of saying it. It's not complete. Here's the big question. Can someone suffer and still be happy? Can someone suffer and still be happy? Have you ever known, like parents of children, they've been going through hard times, or they work hard and it's painful and that stuff, but they're really happy when they see their parent or their children playing in the yard. So things can be trying sometimes. People can even suffer, and yet they can still be happy. And it seems anti-intuitive, but we'll explore a little bit about what that means and how that could be possible. Let's go back. Let's go back to the Greeks, something I always like to do. Plato talks about happiness in the dialogue called the Symposium. And this is how he talks about it. He talks about it in terms of balance. Happiness is spiritual well-being, a harmony in the soul, an inner peace arising from a proper order of all parts of the soul. A proper order of all parts of the soul. What does he mean by that? A proper order of all the parts of the soul. Maybe Aristotle can give us some clue. In the Nicomachean Ethics, Nicomachus was his father. He gives a definition of happiness. Happiness is living a complete life, the ultimate purpose of life being an activity achieved by exercising positive virtues, even in difficult situations. Exercising positive virtues even in difficult situations. So he's implying that, yeah, a situation can be difficult, you can be suffering, but by exercising positive virtues, you can be happy. So from him, we get the idea that happiness is not a feeling, it's a behavior. Now, being satisfied, content, even experiencing pleasure, these are feelings. That's not how he's defining them. He's defining happiness in terms of a behavior. It's how we act. Okay, let's go on. What are these positive virtues that he's talking about? Here are a few that are Aristotle talks about: courage, generosity, justice, friendship, citizenship, moderation. Now, if you think about some of these, you can think that this might get back to what Plato was saying, a proper order of the soul, different things that are in proper order in relation to each other. So, there's not as much talk these days of virtues as there used to be. It might be worth thinking about, why is that? Some books later, I plan to talk about vice and virtue, and what different virtues are and what they mean and how to apply them in your life. What else does happiness require? Well, there's a book called The Curmudgeon's Guide to Getting Ahead, great for young people. But one thing he brings out, the author talks about resilience, this ability to bounce back from adversity. When life hands you lemons, somehow you make lemonade. This idea of resilience. Some children are raised like they are glass, and naturally life shatters them at some point. If you're not raised with a certain kind of inner strength, life can be very difficult for you. Other children, they're raised like they're rubber balls. Whatever they hit in life, they bounce back. And this is the idea of resilience. Resilience, formally speaking, is a material where if the material is deformed in some way, it returns to its original shape. So the more you're able to withstand adversity, suffer, because let's face it, we all suffer in life. It's the nature of life to go through experiences that are hard. What is your ability to bounce back? What is the level of resilience that you have? It's the idea that if life knocks you down, try to land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. This comes from a motivational speaker, Les Brown. If you can look up, you can get up. So what else does it require? There's a book called The Happiest Life, where the author talks about the fact that there are 7 gifts. And here are the gifts that he defines. And I'm putting all these out here as a kind of as a stew. We're going to put all these together and something will come out of it, but they're all worth looking into. And these books are worth reading, gives you some ideas. He talks about encouragement. He talks about energy. He talks about enthusiasm and empathy, good humor, graciousness, and gratitude. For him, these are signs of happiness. When you wake up in the morning, do you feel encouraged with life? Do you have the energy, the enthusiasm, the empathy for others? Do you laugh? Are you able to focus on the funny things in life? Are you gracious? Are you able to bring graciousness to people? And do you have gratitude for every aspect of your life? So in your life, some of the things you may be looking at are these 7 gifts. Are these things that you're able to cultivate somehow and bring more into your life? He also talks about 7 kinds of givers. The spouse is a giver. Your husband, your wife, your partner. The parent is a giver to children, giver to grandparents. There can be a number of ways of looking at the parent role. Family members and friends are givers. The coworker at your job or at your community activity. Teachers are givers. The church, whatever form that takes, it could be a form of religion. It could be other, people with like-minded beliefs that you're engaged with. These are roles that aspire to happiness. And combined with the virtues, the extent to which you can pull in those gifts and virtues, the more you have a possibility of fulfilling these roles and acquiring some happiness. One way of doing it, a test for you personally, is to use a balance wheel. And this is just like, you can draw it on any paper, draw a circle, and then create like spokes, like 8 spokes on a wheel. And here's an example. Going in counterclockwise, the spiritual part of your life, the money part, the leisure part, the friends, the family, love, career, health. And you can look at the center of the wheel as being 0 and the outer edge being 10. So on a scale of 1 to 10, you can see that health is like at a 8 or 8.5. Spiritual is about at a 7.5. Money at a 9. Leisure at an 8. Friends and 7.5. Family, way down. 4.5 maybe. Love 2. And career 8. And you can see as a wheel, if this is rolling along, where does the wheel kind of bounce from having a chunk take out of it? Well, here it's clearly love and family. That's the aspect that's out of balance in your life. And so a balance wheel allows you to kind of, evaluate different aspects of your life. You may be putting a lot of time into making money, when in fact in this wheel, it's like, man, you need to make some room for love and family, for example. You need to step up and bring some more balance to your life. And this kind of gets back to what Plato was talking about, that order of the soul. So if these are the areas that you've defined as part of your soul that need to be in balance, this balance wheel allows you to see where the weaknesses are. Where is it lacking? And the road is not smooth. Here's another example, a little more detailed, and something you can take with you. Personal and spiritual growth, money and retirement, leisure time and hobbies, community service, social life and friends, love and family, job and career, physical and mental health. You can see one of the big chunks taken out here is leisure time and hobbies, as well as social life and friends. Job and career is 5, high, great. But maybe that job and career with the money is just, it's taking away from time for leisure time, hobbies, and having a social life with more friends. So finding a way to balance out this particular wheel, not everything is all the way out. And you may never reach a perfect 10 on all these, but at least you can see the areas of balance. I'm going to give you my personal wheel from a few years ago just to give you an idea of another way to go. Again, counterclockwise, physical and mental health, money and retirement, job and career, leisure, hobbies, social life and friends, love and marriage and home, service, personal spiritual practices, giving love to all life. So I've defined it, what's important to me, in a different way, and you can see that there's some different kind of things on here, and I group some and others. Right here, the job and career is on the weak side, so that needs to be bumped up. And that's kind of what I've been working on the last few years, is bringing that into balance. I'm doing pretty well on all the others. But again, this is my personal balance wheel, and I want to just show you that when you take your 8 spokes, number one, you can combine things, leisure, hobbies, social life, and friends. I've combined in one area because I'm trying to pick 8 things that are of equal importance for the order of me as soul. And this is how I look at it. It's a real good way to find out where you are lacking and what's the rough part of your life that could start affecting other areas if it's not taken care of. And like I say, you can do this on any kind of piece of paper and just make your own wheel and play with it and figure out where do you need to be spending more of your time and attention. So I'm going to wrap this up kind of in a different kind of way. And I think I've given you a lot to think about, some books you can consult and some things you can apply. In a lot of ways, this is something for you to figure out for yourself. It's a hard thing to provide everybody with the same answer, because in a way it's a real mix. It depends what the mixtures of things are in your life. But one of the important things in my life I found, this is actually crucial for my happiness, is this. For me, this is the secret to happiness. It's from a book. It's a passage from a book it's called Stranger by the River. The chapter is entitled Love. And I want to read these 3 paragraphs to you. The requirements of growth demand that you exert the greatest degree of love for what is perfectly in accord with soul. Our highest happiness will be best attained through our understanding of and conscious cooperation with the divine law. It is love that imparts the vitality to our minds and hearts and enables it to germinate. The law of love will bring to you all necessity for your spiritual growth and maturity. Therefore, if you desire love, try to realize that the only way to get love is by giving love, that the more you give, the more you get. And the only way in which you can give is to fill yourself with it until you become a magnet of love. The great secret hidden within all the most holiest and sacred of places throughout history, the secret that no one can explain or give to another, the secret that has always been hiding itself in plain sight within your secret heart. You gain all by giving all. That's it for this series. You can go to my homepage at marcandrealexander.com, subscribe to my email to get an email of new things that are happening, and access to some free podcasts on the Creating Your Life channel, and seeing some other books that I have besides these 4. I also want to mention that I have a Patreon page, the WIT page. It involves 3 areas of my life. I'm the curator of the Underground Grammarian website, which there's a link there. Also for Creating Your Life and some Shakespeare things. It's at patreon.com/grammarian. And if you go there and become a patron, and this is just for $1 a month, the first 50 people, as you can see at the time of this recording, I have 9. The first 50 people, I'll give you PDF copies of my 4 books, Creating Your Life, Money and Wealth, Sex and Romance, and Mozart and Great Music. So that's a deal. And there's other membership tiers, but, for I think many people, just being a basic member is going to be fine. It shows your support for these videos and for the kind of work I'm doing. And thank you. They're greatly appreciated. Here are all the books I'm in the process of working on. My next one is Shakespeare and Great Literature. I also want to mention that videos from now on, I may go right into Mozart and Great Music at some point, but I may jump around too, because there's a lot of topics here. Not just Shakespeare, but Socrates and language and rhetoric, vice and virtue, law and liberty, science and truth, training and education, soul and spirit. I may just want to play a bit with videos coming up, so I don't have to embark on a complete series. I can jump around a bit. That's it. Thank you very much, and have a good time. We'll be seeing you. Bye-bye.